Hello, my name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. In this episode here, what I want to do is I want to talk about research. Now, a lot of people, when they watch my videos and stuff like that, they mostly look at me and see my research as into the JFK assassination. But I really done a lot more research than just the JFK assassination. Now, a lot of other people that knows me close knows I've been doing research for 38 years. Now, a lot of people think I was just doing research for just the 12 years I've done the investigation to JFK, but actually I've been doing research since I was 12 years old. I started doing research, and from then on, most of my research was based on just, working on stories that was told in the Bible. It wasn't until in 2002 is when I actually went out from the Bible and started doing research when I first seen a Bigfoot in 2002. And then that pushed me back into the Bible to find out the true story of that type of man. Then in 2005, I was asked by two different individuals to work on two cases. Now it's the JFK assassination case and the Patterson and Gimlin Bigfoot film. That's when I veered more out of working on the Bible and looking at other unsolved mysteries as well. You know, so the reason why that these people contacted me is because they've seen the research I've done on Noah's Ark. Okay, not only I found the true location of Noah's Ark and I have real photos of it and I go into specific designs and everything else, also find other things as well. So we're going to start off with talking about Noah's Ark here for a moment, then we'll go into the other cases that I've researched. Okay, I started doing research, like I said, when I was 12 years old. This is in the 1970s. I started doing research, and then after that, during the late part of the 70s and into the 80s and everything else, I started taking classes in, film and photo analyst, restoring films. I even done some crime classes, so I could get more insight on how they solve crimes and everything else, because that would help me a lot when it comes to doing my research on any subject. Just like when I was doing my Noah's Ark research, okay? When we look at Noah's Ark, okay, and when we base like time frames, okay, when we base time frames, we look at everything, and our researchers do this. Researchers looks at it as, the time frame here. Okay, you got 12 months in a year, and you have 365 days in a year. Okay, but we cannot use this information here. We can only use this information on this time frame from present today to a point, and that point was 700 BC, because a lot of people don't know that in 700 BC is when January and February was added into the calendar year. And when they add them 2 months into the calendar year, in the year 700 BC now, they added the 2 more months to it, which was January and February, and that added an extra 155 days into our time frame today. So when we're doing basic research, or when we're trying to do any research, we have to keep this in mind, that from the present day, which is now, until 700 BC, when we're tracing back, we can base it on the 365 days in a year, 12 months in a year. But from 699 BC on back to the beginning, we cannot base it on this time frame here, because there's only 10 months in 1 year, 210 days in a year. This is why when they do carbon dating and everything else, okay, they're saying, well, they're putting time frames in there for, a million years ago, which is not true. Okay, it's only thousands of years. The only reason why they're coming out with millions of years, because they're basing everything on a time frame of this right here. This time frame here of 12 months in a year, 365 days in a year, that's what they're basing the time frame on. But they're not taking consideration that January and February was not in the calendar year from 699 BC on back. So when they calculate it that way, okay, then you're going to find the true dates on anything that you're going to do research on. Just like you take a 20-year-old man today, in our time frame, which is 700 BC to the present, he'd be 20 years old. We'll take a man 20 years old, okay? But if we go from 699 BC back and we work on at that time frame, that 20-year-old today would actually be 27 years old. So see, that adds 7 years to his life because that 155 days that they added into the calendar year and the 2 extra months. So when they add that 2 extra months in there and that extra 155 days, that makes our years longer now and not shorter as it was in the beginning. So anything that they're going to do time frames on or anything else like that, we have to take consideration from the present to 700 BC. We work on it. If it was between that calculations there, then we can figure something out and we're going to come up with true time frames. But if we're going anywhere from 699 BC on back, we're not going to get true time frames because of that. Okay, this is what I learned when I was doing research into Noah's Ark. Okay, and this is what helps me out not only in doing research on Noah's Ark, but also other subjects as well. Just like when I did time frames on beginning the time with Adam to the time of Noah. Okay, here is that time frame. Okay, we know Adam lived to be 930 years old, and then we go on to his kids and his grandkids, and so on and so on and so on. By doing this, I get more information on the story of Noah. Just like right here, I know Noah was born 131 years after Adam. Okay, after Adam passed away, and then 131 years from that time when Adam passed away to the time of Noah was 131 years. Okay, also by these time frames, I find out more stuff like Noah's father died 5 years before the flood. Noah's grandfather died during the flood. Okay, by doing these time frames, I get more information now because when we hear the stories on TV or in documentaries and everything else, they're spacing this big old gap and thousands of years between this person, just like when we look at, this is my second time frame I've done from the Bible. Oh, this is not from the Bible, this is from JFK assassination. This is my second time frame that I've done from my research on Noah's Ark. Okay, we look at this. Now, when we look at the story of Abraham, people's going to sit there and say, okay, Abraham was like thousands and thousands of years after the flood, thousands of years after Noah. That's not true. This is what they're portraying it as, the story, but really, in reality, when we base everything on the true dates that's told in the Bible, we're going to find out that Noah was alive during the time of Abraham. That means he was still alive during the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, Noah passed away when Abraham was 57 years old. We can base this by the time frames. Now we know Shem was Noah's second born, okay, by the time frames that's told in the Bible. Well, Shem was alive during and after the time of Abraham. See, researchers don't point this out. We don't see this in movies. We don't see this in documentaries or anything else. We don't see none of this, but it's there. It's always been in front of us. The truth has always been in front of us, but you have to put it in time frames like I see here. This is what got me started on doing time frames, even when I went to the JFK assassination. Now, during that time, my research is doing on Noah's Ark, I go based on the Bible of the true design of Noah's Ark as told in the Bible. And as you see here, this is what Noah's Ark, right down here if you watch my cursor, this is exactly what Noah's Ark looked like. The door on the Ark was on the top level, as it specifies in the Bible. And it gives us the shape of the Bible. There was no roof vent on it or anything else like that, as people claim. There was only one door, one window, and that was it. And the reason why they want to put the door on the top level is because if you got water and you got flood, and you figure the first 2 levels with all the animals on there, most of that's going to be underwater. So the door will be underwater if they place it on the second level or on the bottom level, as people portrays it in their movies and in their films and in their documentaries and in their research. When you portray putting a door down below water level, what's going to happen? Water is going to flow into it, and the ark is going to sink. So the only way the ark's not going to sink is by placing the door on top level, as we see. That's why it was told in the Bible this way of the true design. Now, in 1990, I have discovered the true location of Noah's Ark. This is a fact because I have real images of Noah's Ark. Here is, let me see. If we got it here. Oh, it's in the next file. So I'll go over here in this file here. Okay, right here is a satellite image of Mount Ararat. This is location of Noah's Ark right here. As told in the Bible where it came to rest. This is the height of the location of where Noah's Ark has been seen and also where it came to rest. What people don't know is when you look at this image, you're going to say, oh, okay, here's Mount Ararat. This is a Horror Gorge right here. Okay, but you know, oh, Noah's Ark can be seen in this image right here. And that's right here. Here is where Noah's Ark came to rest. And this is Noah's Ark right here. Okay, now we're going to do a close-up into it, and this is what we find. We see the ark right here, embedded in between these rocks and stuff. And then we go with the outline. Okay, we got the door right here, we got a bow on the roof, and here's the true design right here. Now this design matches what we see here. So basically what we're seeing is from this section here to this section here. This is what we're seeing. This section here is completely gone by the lava flow. Now let's look at this. This is a thermal image. As you see, the front end looks like a house, don't it? We got the roof line right here, and this is the buckle from where it bowed. Okay, we have a door, and this is the rest of the section of it right here. This was taken out by the lava flow. Now, what I did was I took these images and the location right here, which is I'll pull up the satellite image, which I'll make a video on this and go more detail, but I got because I got up. This is a satellite image. We're going to do it close. This is Noah's Ark right here. Okay, this is Noah's Ark right here. I'll make a video on this as you see in this file here. I'll go into more details and stuff. It's just in this video here, you know, I want to show some of my evidence and everything else. And after I got done analyzing, you know, studying the surroundings and the object, which is Noah's Ark stuff, this is what I came up with right here. I did my drawings and stuff like that. Gives me more details and more insight of what you know, what's in there and everything else, which I'll show you a video on that. So this research here, as people seen, I go in depth into doing my research, okay, to find the answers, to find the true locations and everything else, because a lot of researchers won't do it. Just like when I went to finding the Garden of Eden. By basing my research on the Bible and looking at the information that's told in the Bible, excuse me, I got holes in my mouth. By basing everything on there and going by the locations that's told in the Bible, as you see right here, here is a cherub that God placed at the east of the garden. The Garden of Eden I found in 1995, the location, true location, is right here, because that cherub is right here on east of the garden as it's portrayed. This is how big Garden of Eden it is really, and this is the true location of the Garden of Eden right here. Okay, when we look at it today, on our maps today. Now, it didn't look like that back then, which I'll make a video on this as well as I go further on. But, you know, I found, discovered the true location of the Garden of Eden. Then when I see my Bigfoot, when I had my first Bigfoot experience in 2002, this is a drawing I've done when I came home from that day after seeing it. This is what it looked like. So I started doing research on it and stuff like that, found out that the story of this type of man is told in the Bible, and this issue was the first actually Bigfoot, and they became Edomites, which I've done a book on that as well, which you'll see in this book here. In the beginning, you'll see my research of this real Bigfoot encounter, and more information about real Bigfoot is in this book right here. Just like in this Noah's Ark, you're going to find the story and research I've done on Noah's Ark and everything else, and also the Garden of Eden as well. Now, this brings me up to, when I do my research, okay, brings me up to present to the two cases I worked on before, which was the Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot film and the JFK assassination. And like I said, people ask me this because they see my research, they see my videos I had, my original videos I had on Noah's Ark and on the Garden of Eden and stuff, because that's all I did research on. And when I first started my YouTube account, when YouTube first started, but then I closed that account out, made another account, closed it out, and now I have this present account right here. But anyway, this is why people likes to come to me because I get in depth on my research. I have to find out information. I have to dig deep. Okay. Just like I always take images as well when I do testing and stuff. Just like the Patterson and Gibbon Bigfoot film. In years, people's claimed, a lot of claims they said, as well, no one can walk like the creature in the film. No one can make a costume like the creature in the film or anything else. I went ahead and put all this stuff to the test. I went ahead and did the walk myself the first time. Okay. First, I was trying to demonstrate, have a person do it. Okay. And I said, no, here, film me and watch me do the walk. And then I want you to do the same walk. Well, I did this on my first try. As you see here, still images from it. I did my walk on the first try. So I said, well, we'll just leave it at that because I already done the walk right in front of the camera. I'd done the walk. Researchers claimed it couldn't be done. Then researchers claimed that, hey, no one can make a suit like that. So I went ahead in 2007, made a copy of the suit. Okay, what you see, this is the back of it right here. I go in details and show how I made the suit, where I put special padding at in certain locations for certain muscles, as you see here and right here, so you can get that rib form. I put it, sew this inliner in here, sewed across here, so I can get that rib look. So when you have the suit on, it looks realistic. Okay. And I go in details on how I made the mask, as you see here. These are still shots of me making the mask and stuff. Because, see, I keep everything, I'll put everything in file. When I'm doing certain things and everything else, I always keep it in file, and I got thousands of files. Actually, I got over 60 or 70,000, files and images and everything else. Way more than that. Because I have 2 or 3 stacks of CDs about this big. And plus I got hundreds of these sticks, okay, UBS sticks, okay. Now, I show testing in all the research I do, okay, which is the PG film and stuff. Just like when I made the copy of the suit, you can see the muscle movements. I got the test footage where I had the suit on and I move around in it and everything else. And as you see, it's identical, close identical to the creature we see in the film. I go into the film and I show there was editing done to the film. As you see here, they took out a man, which is John Green was actually there when he was filming this Bigfoot, because this profile, if you see this blur mark right here, they try to take him out because you got a clear still frame here and you can see all the surroundings and everything else, but you see this blurry spot right here. This is a person they took out, which shows editing done to the film. And then we take John Green's profile, side profile, and you see it's the same as a blurry image that we see in the film, because in this film here we can see actually this image move, walking off to the right in the film, and then bends down and gets out of frame. And as you see here, it was John Green. Then I go more in details and showing people that when we watch this film, this actually was 2 different types of film they put in there, because by the color elements we could base this on, because we see scene 1, 2, 4, and 6 has the same color elements, but scenes 5 and 3 don't have the same color elements as the rest of it, except for scene 3 and scene 5 have the same color elements in it. So this indicates and shows us and tells us that scene 1, 2, 4, and 6 was on one reel film, and scene 3 and 5 was on another reel film, and they actually splice and put these together. We have to go in depth. That's why people like when they contact me, do research, is because I go in depth. I find whose hands has been into and who they talked to, what was going on at that time. I go in depth and stuff, just like when it comes to putting dates on films or when images and stuff, just like here's a note from John Green to Bob Titmus claiming when he was there, which just shows us when they filmed the tracking dog film, which was Labor Day weekend, during Labor Day weekend in 1967. Same thing as we see in the Patterson and Gibbon Bigfoot film and in the film of Jim McLaren Walking the Path of Bigfoot. All this had been done during Labor Day weekend of 1967, because we could base this by the information that we're getting from different films and watching the films, how they're put together. Just like when I point out that Jim McLaren Walking the Path of Bigfoot, which you'll see this frame right here, was filmed before Roger Patterson filmed this Bigfoot, but they claim this film was filmed in 1968, and Roger Patterson filmed his movie in 1967. But by the surroundings in the films, we could tell that, as you see here, there's a piece of bark hanging here. Down here, you see the bark is completely gone. You see right here, you see this twig that comes up, the stick comes up here, and it extends outward. But when we look at the Patterson and Gimlin Bigfoot film, it's cut off. Okay, so this indicates and tells us that the film of Jim McLaren Walking the Path of Bigfoot was filmed before the Patterson and Gimlin Bigfoot film. So basically, this was like a test run. Plus, we also see in the film, in a Patterson and Gimlin Bigfoot film, we see dog prints. And the only time there was a dog there was during when John Green and them was there. So basically, John Green's film, Tracking Dog film, the Patterson and Gimlin Bigfoot film, and the Path that Bigfoot Walked with Jim McLaren in it was all filmed during the same time. And the only way they could film that film during the same time without anybody in the surroundings, because there was people cutting wood there and stuff like that, cutting down trees and stuff, and so nobody be around there to see them doing all this. They had to make sure that they had a time frame where there wasn't be nobody working there. And the only time frame they had was, and as we see in the note, they was in that location during Labor Day weekend of 1967. And from 1967, there wasn't nobody working in that area on that Saturday, Sunday, and that Monday, Labor Day weekend. There was nobody there. So I gave them 3 days to do all their filming and stuff. Then we go into the, when I made my suit and stuff, I did show it to John Green, and also show people as well that, you know, I go in and I talk to John Green, send him an email and stuff like that, and talk to him. Hey, you know, here's a copy of the suit, and show him images and tests and stuff. And then he writes me back, says, I'm impressed with the effort you have made and the skills you applied in doing it. And particularly your costume, which is the closest to what the film shows I have ever seen. Now, he wrote me this because the only reason why I contacted John Green, because he was one of the original ones that seen the Patterson Gimlin Bigfoot film. Okay, excuse me. Plus, he also verifies from my research that it was editing done to the film as well, because when I said what color was Bigfoot, you know, the true Bigfoot on the Patterson Bigfoot and the Patterson Bigfoot film, as you see here, says what was the true color of Bigfoot in the PG film? John Green replied, while witnesses might have assumed some other tint to what they saw or what he saw, basically Roger Patterson or Bob Gimlin, as it was recorded on the original film, the animal was just plain black. It certainly was not red. Okay, so he's telling me that the Patterson Bigfoot was actually black, but when we watch that film today, it's more of a brownish red. Okay, so that tells me there was color added to the film. Okay, when they did remake film, which if anybody sees my research and in my book, this one right here, you're going to find out that it was remade in 1968 by Ron Olson. Okay, this one I'm talking about details. Now we go into the JFK assassination. Okay, when I did the JFK assassination, as you see here, I base a lot of my stuff on photographic evidence, and if the eyewitness accounts back up what we see in the films and images, then I can say yes, you know, this is true. I uncovered photographic evidence of 13 shots and 5 gunmen. Okay, in this case, okay, there they are right there. The locations of all 5 gunmen and their locations, you know, 4 different locations and stuff like that. Here's the shots they fired, 13 shots and stuff. Okay, I go into details. That's why a lot of people recommends me for doing research on certain subjects. I would love to continue doing research because I'm really passionate about research. I really love the history when it comes to research. I really love doing research all the time if I could, but I don't have the funds to do it anymore, because when people sit there and says, well, how can you be broke when you just did research on JFK assassination? But as you see here, I've done research on other subjects as well. Noah's Ark, Garden of Eden, Patterson and Gimlin Bigfoot film, Bigfoot, JFK assassination, the Garden of Eden. I've even done research on the Zodiac Killer, which I found a way to read the letters, and I have a video posted about this case. I found a way to read the letters, and basically the letters, all it tells us is who he killed and how he killed that person. Okay, and I found the name of the true Zodiac Killer. It was Ken Amon. Ken Amon. That's the name of the Zodiac Killer. Okay, he did work at the naval station there, the weapons naval station there. Okay, that's why he looked different during the day than he did at night. And he also had flight shoes on, or Navy shoes. He worked there. Okay, this guy here lived all over him within a 60-mile radius of all the murder cases. And where he mailed out his last letter, he was 60 miles lived there. He lived in Brookings, okay, was his last known location, and he passed away some time ago. But anyway, as you see here, I've done a lot of research, okay, and this is why I put all my research in books and stuff, because I would like to take the funds and continue doing research, because I have people contact me and says, can you do research on this case or that case and everything else. There's millions of unsolved cases out there, and this is the truth. You know, not only history cases, but other cases as well, you know, that has nothing to do with history, but there's like murder cases out there and everything else that people's asked me to look into. But people don't realize it costs a lot of money, like this right here. Doing all this research and stuff cost me thousands of dollars. A lot of life saving. My life savings is completely gone and everything else from doing research on these kind of cases, okay? And you don't become rich on doing research, okay? This is why I went ahead and say, well, because in 2000, a few years ago, I went ahead and started doing this full time because they told me I can't work no more. And because I had the hernia and my blood pressure was high. I was like 200 and something over 137. And they put me on blood pressure meds, one in the morning, one at night, and then the surgery, everybody knows the surgery I went through back in November. Okay. And, all this other stuff, plus I'm a caregiver to my wife, Tracy, and my oldest son, Leroy Jr., because they have health issues. They have seizures, they have back problems and everything else. So I'm the caregiver for them as well. Plus I take care of my other three sons, Jesse, Josh, and Joey. And, I have a lot of things to do through the day besides making videos or doing research. This is the reason why I put all my research in books, not to become rich or famous or anything, but just to have some money coming in to support my research so I can continue doing research, because I do most of my research from around 9 o'clock at night to about 4 o'clock in the morning. Then I go to sleep for a couple hours and I get back up. I've been doing this for years. I go to sleep for a couple hours and I get back up and I start, doing my daily chores and stuff like that, and trying to make a video here or a video there, excuse me, and everything else. But I'd put all my information, like my JFK assassination research, I put it all in this book right here, okay? So everybody will know, because see, when it comes to research, you have to know the truth, okay? If you don't know the truth, okay, it's just going to be lingering and lingering for more people throwing more false information and stuff in there. And no one's never going to know the truth. This is the reason why I go in depth on my research, because you have to know the whole story, not just a part of it, but the whole story and what surrounds that story, okay? Once you know all that and you piece it all together and you find that information out, then you exactly know. Just like I told me and my wife was sitting there the other night watching a TV program, and we're sitting there watching, like Unsolved Mysteries, or, I watched Curse of Oak Island, which is a good program as well. These guys are trying to change history and stuff like that. And people's trying to do this, trying to do that, but people's giving out false information and false leads and stuff, because everybody wants to try to get that big paycheck at the end, okay? But like I said, to me and my research, it's not about the paycheck or anything else. It's about, getting the facts out there, letting people know the truth, showing the truth. Things can be done. Other researchers are going to say, no, this can't be done, that can't be done. That's no answer for me. That's no answer. There has to be an answer to something, okay, when it comes to Noah's Ark, or when it comes to Garden of Eden, or Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot film, or Bigfoot, or JFK assassination, or the Zodiac killer. There's always an answer if someone digs deep enough to find that answer. As you see in my research, I come up with time frames. I come up with evidence. I show evidence. I present my evidence. Okay, I do things that other researchers can't do. Think about it. In the JFK assassination, I found photographic evidence of 5 gunmen and 13 shots. No other researcher in the past 50 years could not find it. Other researchers studied the Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot film. They said no man can make a copy of that costume. No one can't find nothing in this film to show it was a hoax. I've done it. Okay, I've even made a copy of the suit, which they claim it can't be done. And I'm not no costume maker. This is the first costume I've ever made. but I made a copy of the suit, as you see here. Just like here. This is the first time I've ever made a mask, okay, which it'll pull up here in a minute, hopefully. There it is, right there. First time I've ever made a mask. And as you see here, all I did was took Play-Doh, and then I put a rubber compound over it, as you see right here. And that's how I made the mask. Okay, here's the headpiece here. Excuse me for a moment. Here's the headpiece right here. 11 years later, this is the same headpiece. Okay, here is the where I put it on with the chin. This goes in the back. This tucks in, and you comb it down. It blends in, so it don't look like no seam or anything else like that. But here's that face right there. When I made this face, that's the face, and after you put the fur on it and everything else. Okay. Now, like I said, I'm not no costume maker. I'm not going to claim that I'm a costume maker. But I made the suit. Okay, I made a copy of the suit because I look for details. Okay, I look for who made the suit, and it's the truth. Like when I do research, okay, if there's something I stumble across that I can't figure out or do, I go ahead and take classes on this, like when I made the Patterson again Bigfoot suit. Excuse me. When I made that suit, okay, first I found out who made the suit and how it was made. Now, a lot of people don't do that, but I did. It was Bob Titmus made the suit. He was a taxidermist. So what I did was, after I knew he was a taxidermist, I went ahead and took some taxidermy classes, okay, and find out how they made, animals, how they stuff them, how they form the suit, how they form, make them look realistic. Okay, that's what Bob Titmus did when he made the suit. Then after I learned that, then Roger Patterson, he worked with leather and stuff. So I started, working with leather myself just so I can get that style of form. That's how I can make the mask because Roger Patterson made the headpiece. The body and the torso and the legs and stuff was made by Bob Titmus. And then the feet was made by Ray Wallace, which I started learning how to carve as well. So I took classes in carving and stuff so I can make the feet and everything else. Okay. After I took all these classes and I learned it, I went ahead and put that skills together and made a copy of the Patterson and Gimlin Bigfoot suit, which no one else can make. So see, once you find something and you study about it, this is what it costs me a lot of money because a lot of people don't understand that I got to pay for classes and everything else just so I can learn this and learn that, because I'm constantly learning. And just like when I did when I did research on the JFK assassination, okay, I took my skills that I learned years ago in the 1980s when I took forensics and everything else and how police officers work a crime scene and everything else. I took that into when I did the research on the JFK assassination. I took that, that experience and that skills into it. That's how I uncovered a lot of information that a lot of people don't know. That's why when I go into my research, you'll find a lot of information that you're not going to find nowhere else because I had to go in detail because I had to find them answers. In this video here, I know it's went on for a little bit. I wanted to show people that not only I did research on JFK assassination, but the Patterson and Bigfoot film, Noah's Ark, Garden of Eden, the Zodiac Killer. I've also done paranormal investigations. I've done UFO investigations. I worked, I went out and did investigations in Bigfoot and stuff. I went out in the field quite a few times, which I have a field experience as well and everything. And like I said, when I do my research, I take photos, I do testing, as you see here. When I was gunman in side shelter number 3, I done it this way, did testing this way. As you see, I keep on taking still images and stuff because I want to show that when I do my research, I go in full detail of how could they done this or how could they done that. Okay, I have to look at it from all angles. In the description down below, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a site if you want to order any of my books, my research books, the Patterson and Gimlin Bigfoot film. Okay, I go more details. You'll find out more research on the true Bigfoot and everything else. And this book here is on paperback or Kindle. Evidence of Conspiracy, as everybody knows, that follows me in the JFK assassination. Okay, this book here, I have all my evidence in it and stuff like that. It's on paperback or Kindle. And then my book, Noah's Ark, if you want to know anything or more information on Noah's Ark and the true location of Noah's Ark, and see real images of other arks that I found, because there was actually 12 arks made in time of Noah, which you'll find more information out on that in this book here. And if you want to find out about the Garden of Eden and everything else, which you also find out in this beginning of this book here. Thank you and have a pleasant day. And don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Share this video on your Facebook, social media, and everything else. Like I said, I want to continue doing research. If I had the funds to continue doing research, I could bring in a lot more cases. And that means a lot more cases can be solved and a lot more answers can be found. Thank you again. And like I said, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. Share this video. Thank you, and you have a pleasant, pleasant day.